Well, hello, everyone. This is Roger Connect, president of Universal Accounting Center. I'm excited to have Scott McKinley again with us today. He's going to be speaking about what it is you can do to build your own successful accounting, bookkeeping, and tax practice, and most importantly, get out of the way of your own success. One of the things that I think is exciting about the presentation today is it's been referred to as perhaps the best presentation he does as he speaks to individuals, who are in a position of building your own successful practices, becoming the premier accounting service in your market, and being that accountrepreneur that you're needing to be as you start and build your business and really get out of the way of the success that you're needing to have. I'm excited to have him here. And Scott, one of the things that I like about what you do is the passion you bring to this discussion. So with no further ado, Scott McKinley with Universal Accounting.
Hi, everybody. Kind of like, no further ado, let's talk about Scott. Hi. You're right. This is definitely one of my favorite presentations to give because I think that you just said it, Roger. People have to really have that consciousness to be able to recognize that what is blocking them from success oftentimes is just simply ourselves and sometimes maybe our ego and our fears, and those things create just a wall that prevents us from being where we want to be and where we've always envisioned. So that's really the purpose of today, is to acknowledge that there is some opportunity in your practices, yourselves, those of you that are listening, to shift and to understand that the story that you tell is the life that you live. And one of the things that I've learned as a coach is that if you keep repeating the old same paradigms over and over to yourself, you are basically damning yourself to be stuck in the same position that you're in right now. And that's not why you're here. That's not why you're listening to this webinar. You're listening to this webinar because you want to make some changes. So let's talk about changing. First off, for those of you who I haven't met, who don't know me, who this is maybe your first webinar that you've listened to with Universal Accounting, welcome. My name is Scott McKinley, and I am the senior marketing coach for Universal Accounting. I have traveled all over North America since back in 2008. Working with individuals who are either thinking about starting a practice or who have a practice started and they just can't get past a certain ceiling of clients. And I've taught seminars to those individuals on marketing and getting over those hurdles. Started business coaching with Universal Accounting a year prior to that in 2007. And while I was doing the business coaching, focusing on marketing, I stumbled across a little thing called the law of attraction. And I'm going to be referencing multiple books today that touch upon this principle, this law of attraction. And I realized that one of the things that could be a big benefit to the students that I was working with was instructing them on the law of attraction and teaching them how to actually take control of that law and make it work for them instead of against them. And that kind of goes back to what Roger was saying about getting out of your own way. So in 2013, I got certified as a law of attraction practitioner. So for the last 4 years, I have been devoting my time helping people to understand how it works, understand the principles, and use that to make their life amazing. Myself personally, I am a married man. I have 4 beautiful children. I have a beautiful wife. We have a blended family. So the ages of my children are 19, 11, 6, and 2. So boy, oh boy, oh boy, if you could imagine just the type of conversations that I'm having on a daily basis, it's amazing. That's one way to put it. So the purpose of today is to talk about paradigms, and more importantly, addressing what a paradigm is, where they come from, and sharing some of the things that I've learned to help shift you out of the paradigms that might be limiting you. We're going to be focusing on you and your practices today. And I'm going to walk you through 3 steps to shifting from those paradigms that you have so you can get results. Now, I am coaching people on a daily basis in all walks of life. I'm not just working with accountants, CPAs, bookkeepers, and tax preparers. I'm working with mortgage brokers. I'm working with massage therapists. I am working with physical trainers. I'm working with stay-at-home moms. I'm working with grandparents. I'm working with people who have identified that they are stuck, that they are in a rut, and they need to shift, and they need to get out of it. So I'm going to walk you through those steps that we teach our clients to shifting, and introduce how you can start the process of shifting from where you're at right now. And then at the end of the seminar, you don't want to miss this. If you have been looking into universal accounting, if you've been considering possibly taking some of the programs that Universal offers, you do not want to miss this offer. This is an unbelievable thing that Roger Connect, the president of Universal Accounting, has put together for those of you at the end of this webinar. So we'll talk about what Universal Accounting can do to help. To begin with, let's jump into paradigms. Every year since the iPhone came out back in 2007, and I don't know if you were fortunate enough to have an iPhone back in 2007 when they were brand new. AT&T was the only one that carried them. It wasn't like it is today where you could get them everywhere. But back all the way in 2007, this revolutionary invention came out that just absolutely changed how we use our phones, how we communicate, how we get information, how we become social on media. The iPhone definitely came out and just was a revolutionary product. But every year since 2007, when this phone came out, they've released a brand new version of that phone. And the reason that they do that is because they realize that if they get stuck in the paradigm that this is the best, this is all people need, they're going to get passed up because technology has caught up to Apple. Technology is now available with Galaxies. Galaxy now has a smartphone that is equal, if not better, depending on who you ask, to the iPhone and the iOS system. So every year, Apple is having to go back and make changes and look at things that they thought were once something that people had to have, and they're asking the question, is that really how it has to be? And today, we've got the iPhone X, which is the 10-year anniversary of the iPhone. And if you look at the image there of the iPhone X on the far right side of the screen, comparing it to the original iPhone from 2007, you see a huge difference in what they've created. The first thing that stands out is the fact that that little circle at the bottom, that home button, it's gone. For 9 years, Apple was convinced that they had to have the home button, but now they've advanced, they've shifted past that belief that they have to have that, and they've created an even better phone by not allowing themselves to be contained by that thought that they once had that people have to have that home button. When we look at paradigms, a paradigm is just a Greek word that means to show side by side. And scientifically, paradigm has been used to describe a model or a theory. In our modern use of the word, a paradigm is an assumption or a frame of reference. And I think that it's important to understand that this frame of reference, it comes because of influences that are around us all throughout our life. It's a source of our attitudes and our behaviors, and it usually stems from the lens that we see the world. That comes from our family. It comes from our friends. Examples of paradigms might be a certain belief about a way of living. Examples of paradigms might be, for some people, a religion. Examples of paradigms might be that money is difficult and money is a burden and money doesn't grow on trees. I was teaching this workshop a couple of weeks ago, and I said, give me some examples of paradigms. And that was one of the first one that came out, is that money doesn't grow on trees. And I thought that was a really profound one, because how many of us in our lives have heard our parents at some point in time say that to us? Turn off the lights. Money doesn't grow on trees. Shut the door. I'm not paying to air condition the whole outside. Money doesn't grow on trees. Now, if that's the paradigm that our parents have, that they're passing on to us, chances are at one point in time, you've said that same thing to your children, and thus that cycle of the paradigm, that attitude and that behavior gets passed down to other people. Now, Stephen Covey, who wrote the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, in the beginning of this book, he addresses paradigms and how he was introduced to the concept of paradigms and how much it really affects people, how much that influence of a paradigm changes the way people perceive things. And he tells the story from back when he was going to Harvard Business School. And his professor conducted an experiment where he handed out to half of the classroom an image. And this is the image that he handed out to half the class. And he made sure that only half of the class saw the image. The other half of the class didn't get to see it. And he said to the people that had that image, I want you to study this, because in 10 minutes, I'm going to ask you to stand up and we're going to have somebody from this side of the room describe what it is you see in this picture. So while he's having the first half of the class study this image, he hands to the other side of the class this image that you see here. Now, I'm sure you guys have seen this, and maybe you understand where I'm getting at with this, but you definitely see a difference in image 1 compared to the second image that was handed out to the other side of the class. Now, after he asked them to study the image, he then brought onto the screen the final and last image. Now, this is more of these first 2 images are the rough versions of version number 3 that we see here. So after he had had both sides of the room study equally, only influenced by the image that they had been given, he asked a representative from each side of the room to stand up and come to the front of the room. And while looking at image number 3 here, he said, I'd like you to describe what you see in the picture. So going back to the people who had the first image, obviously they're describing a beautiful young woman. They're describing somebody that's got their head facing away from the camera. And almost instantly, the representative from the second side of the room said, no, that's not in the picture at all. And so the professor said, so explain what you're seeing. He said, oh, I don't see a young lady looking away from the camera. I see kind of a profile picture of an older woman who's a little rough looking. She's looking straight ahead. She's got a big nose. Now the person on the other side of the room is going, what are you talking about? She doesn't have a big nose. She's got a tiny little nose. She's kind of looking maybe a little bit over her shoulder. She's got a feather in her hair, and she's wearing a kind of almost like a white scarfy type thing in her hair. And obviously, the people from the other side of the room aren't agreeing. They're saying, no, it's an old lady. She's got tight lips. The point of this exercise is to explain that we form these beliefs by the influences that we have in our lives. This is where we tend to pick up the paradigms. Now, my own paradigms, the beliefs that I was influenced by when I was young growing up, life is not easy. Now, I don't mean to say anything negative towards my parents, but they had more of the approach that life was a struggle. Money didn't come easy to our family. I was raised kind of thinking that good things don't happen to me. I'm more of a victim of things that happen, or that I have to work hard, but money is always going to be a burden. Paying bills is going to be difficult. I never get to take my kids to Disneyland. It's too expensive. There was a point in time when this was the belief that I had. My wife and I wanted to go on vacations. We wanted to do things with our kid, but because life was a struggle and good things didn't happen to us and money was always a burden, we weren't able to take our kids to Disneyland. And as a result, relationships were difficult. I had a hard time making and keeping friends. And that was kind of what I focused on because of the things that I had seen all of my life growing up from my parents and the relationships that they had. At one point in time, I sat down and I started listing what my beliefs were. And these things, especially this one that I couldn't afford what I worked so hard for, was one of the main beliefs that I had. Lastly, the paradigm that I'd grown up with was that I never got to see Pearl Jam front row. Now, those of you who don't know me, which is going to be the majority of you out there, one of the things that the people that know me is they know that I'm a diehard Pearl Jam fan. I've seen Pearl Jam 20 times, which to a lot of people sounds like a lot, but to the circle that I run with, it's actually a drop in the bucket compared to some of my friends that have seen them in the hundreds and close to 200 times. But for me, that was my belief, was that whenever Pearl Jam came to town or whenever I went on tour to go see Pearl Jam to follow them, because my membership to the 10 Club, which was their fan club that started back in 1991. In 1991, I was 17 years old and I had no interest in signing up for a fan club for a band. If I'd have known that in my 20s and my 30s and my 40s, that they were going to be giving out tickets to the shows based on seniority, and that if I wanted to see Pearl Jam up front, I needed to pay $5 to join the fan club, I'd have paid the $5, but I didn't do it. And so as a result, my seats were always lousy. And, you know, I would see people up at the front. And I remember at one show back in 2009 here in Salt Lake City, I was sitting on opposite side of the stadium from my wife, but we could see each other. And I remember pointing down to the people in the front row during one of the songs where Eddie Vedder actually hands his bottle of wine to the people in the front, and everybody takes a drink and passes the bottle down. And I pointed to my wife and I said, that's going to be me. I decided that it was time for me to shift my paradigm. So why am I sharing this with you? Because business owners that I've worked with since 2006, 2007, I've noticed they form their own paradigms and their own beliefs. Now, I'm speaking specifically about business owners in the accounting, bookkeeping, and the tax industry. Tell me if any of these sound like some of the paradigms and beliefs that you might have adopted over the years as you've thought of starting your own practice or as you've started it, but you are struggling. I can't sell. I'm not supposed to sell. I'm an accountant. I'm an enrolled agent. I'm a tax preparer. My responsibility is to be fulfillment. It's to do production. I'm not supposed to be the one responsible for selling. What about this one? If you have started a practice, nobody wants to work with me. I go to BNI, I go to all these events, I do what I'm supposed to do, I say what I'm supposed to say, but I don't have any clients. Nobody's interested in working with me. Or I'm terrified of going to events because I'm terrified of public speaking. I've never liked public speaking in my life. How about this one? Because this is one that I hear quite often as a marketing coach in this industry. Before I can start my practice, I need to be a CA up in Canada or a CPA down in the States. In order for me to be successful and have a successful practice, I've got to go get that designation. Is that true, or is that just a belief? How about bookkeepers aren't meant to be marketers? Bookkeepers or accountants or enrolled agents or whatever. Bookkeeping is just another expense. Business owners just see me as just another operating expense. Is that true? Is that maybe just a paradigm or a belief that came from a thought that a business owner might necessarily be dealing with or struggling with? How about this one? Bookkeepers are boring. If I had $1 for every time an actual bookkeeping client of mine told me that very thing, I probably could have retired a couple of years ago. These beliefs, these paradigms, this is what Roger Connect was talking about at the beginning of this workshop when he said, get out of your own way. Telling yourself over and over, I can't sell, no one wants to work with me, I need to be a CPA, bookkeepers aren't marketers, bookkeeping is just an expense, bookkeepers are boring. If these are the thoughts that are going through your mind that have become your belief, well, no wonder you're not where you want to be. These are those limiting beliefs that have become your paradigms that have stopped you from moving forward. And if you want to stop experiencing the story that you are living where these things are true, with nobody working with you, people not wanting to pay you for what you do, people seeing you as just another expense, the first step is to stop telling that story. I said it at the beginning of this presentation, and I'm going to say it again. Write this down. The story you tell is the life you live. And this came as a breakthrough years ago in working with one of my clients, because I sat and I listened to him telling me these things, and I stopped and said, you've just convinced yourself. You've made these thoughts your belief, and your belief has become what is manifesting in your life. That's the law of attraction. There's no coincidence about that. You are manifesting what you are giving your energy to. So if the iPhone can shift, if Apple can look at their product and go, do we need that home button? Can we shift? Can we reinvent it? Maybe it's time for you to reinvent yourself. Now, as a value builder certified trainer and instructor, one of the things that we look at is, what are the things that affect those low scores in the value builder system. And if you're not familiar with that, we can talk a little bit more about that later. If you want to contact me, I can explain what value builder is. But we look at different areas in the business that affect the overall value of the business. And these paradigms and these beliefs actually take away the potential value that an investor might see in a business if you've adopted them. No one can do this better than me. That's a paradigm. That's just a belief that came from a thought that you've told yourself over and over and over. And if you've convinced yourself that no one can do this better than me, unfortunately, that affects the value of your business. I need to be the one speaking to the customers. I have to be present 24/7 in my business because that's what business owners want. Well, maybe, but you being the one to deliver that is what takes away the value of the business. The harder I work, the more profitable I'll be. That's a paradigm. The more profitable we are, the more valuable we'll be. That's just a paradigm. These are just false beliefs. I've said it up to this point a couple of times in this presentation, that a belief is just a thought. Let that sink in. A belief is just a thought. And the good news, ladies and gentlemen, is that we are the ones that can control our thoughts. Can you control people when you go to a networking function? No. Can you control people when you sit down to make a presentation? No. The only thing that you can control is your thoughts. Your thoughts control your emotions, which put out your vibration, which make things manifest. Napoleon teaches the importance of this in his book, Think and Grow Rich. If you haven't read Think and Grow Rich, get out there, get a copy of it. It's free on iBooks. I don't know about Android's Google Books, if that's a thing, but I use Mac, and so it's free on iBooks. He talks about the importance of our thoughts, and he says in Think and Grow Rich that the way that this concept of law of attraction works is that it simply responds to whatever your dominant thoughts are. Whether it's a constructive thought or a destructive thought, it doesn't matter. Law of attraction doesn't have a conscience. It simply responds to the focus that you're putting on one particular person or circumstance or situation in your life. Dominant thoughts attract people, circumstances, and forces that continue to manifest in our lives, which is why I'm giving this presentation to you today, because if you're attracting negative people and negative circumstances and negative forces, maybe it's time for a paradigm shift to take place in your life so you can control those thoughts, which become your beliefs, which become the paradigms in your life. Now, in the book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey talks about shifts happening deliberately and subconsciously. The best way to make a shift happen is to deliberately look at a situation so it can shift. Because if you don't decide to do that, it's going to happen on its own. Let me give you an example of that. He tells a story in the beginning of the book as he's talking about paradigms. And he talks about one Sunday morning, he was in New York City, he was riding the subway, it was as quiet as it could be on the subway, kind of peaceful. And at one of the stops, a family comes in. It was a father and a group of children. And almost immediately, the energy in the subway car shifted because this group of kids was just unruly. They were loud. Describes them as being, that family that you see where you're rolling your eyes and you're looking at the parents going, what's going on? Do something about your kids. I mean, they were just making noise, banging things, bumping into people. And the whole time, the dad just sat there, kind of just in like a haze, unaware of what's going on. So finally, it just got to the point where he couldn't take it anymore. So he leaned over and he tapped the gentleman on the knee and said, "Excuse me, sir, are these your children?" And the man kind of snapped out of the fog that he was in, and he said, yes, they are. Mr. Covey said, "Well, you know, you guys are on the subway. This is not how kids should be acting on the subway. Could you do something to control your kids? There being a big disruption to everybody on the subway." Now, that's naturally the belief, the thought that you're going to have. The paradigm is you keep your kids under check. You keep your kids in control when you go out in public, right? Who of us have thought that before when we've seen circumstances and situations that are similar to what he's describing in the book? To that, the gentleman responded and said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize." He said, "You're right. We just left the hospital. Their mother just passed away. So I'm sure that this is just how they're dealing with it. And I need to stop and I need to help them." Instantly, a shift took place for Mr. Covey. No more is his belief and his thought, these kids are awful nuisances. They are disrupting the calm serenity of this New York City subway. And now he's thinking, oh my gosh, this is a travesty. What can I do to help? He offered his assistance to the gentleman. So when I say that shift happens, shift happens. It happens whether we choose to have it happen or not. And in these situations where we're talking about you as a business owner making that deliberate choice to shift so you don't have to have shift happen to you because those beliefs start to manifest. And if those beliefs are destructive, we don't want that to take place in your life. We want you to be in control of the shift. So how do we begin? Where do we decide what areas of our life need to shift in? Well, there have been books for years written about shifting. Napoleon wrote Think and Grow Rich back in 1930. Maxwell Maltz wrote The Psycho-Cybernetics back in the 60s. Rhonda Byrne in 2006 wrote the book The Secret, and there's a movie about it. And it's all about the power of how your thoughts can change your world that you're living in. And then Michael Lozier wrote a book called The Law of Attraction, which if you want just a simple, easy to understand version of the Law of Attraction, that's the book. It's the same concept that Napoleon and Maxwell and Rhonda are talking about, but it's just simplified. So the first thing is to start to understand that your thoughts definitely control the world that you're living in. The next thing is we've got to choose the area that we want to focus on, that we need to shift in. And if you're watching this, I assume that you want to shift in the aspect of your business, whether it's the finances that you have. Maybe you want to shift in your health or relationships. If you've got employees, and I just did a coaching session with one of our business clients earlier this morning, and he was telling me about his employee, and everything he was saying was negative. Everything he was talking about with this employee was a fear, was a concern that he had. There's no question as to why he's having issues with this employee, because that's what he's choosing to give focus to, is negative things. Maybe it's customers. Maybe it's your business. As a marketing consultant for, since 2007, that tends to be the area that I focus on the most. So the first step is decide what it is about that aspect of your life, your business, your relationships, your finances, your health, that you can't stand. This is the only time as a law of attraction practitioner I would ever encourage anybody to make a list and focus on the things but you don't want. But that's what I want you to do, is pick the area that you want to improve and make a list of all of the contrast that you just can't stand. All of the things about your business, the lack of customers, the lack of marketing that's going on, the lack of return business, the lack of monthly billings, the lack of knowledge that you have that might be preventing you. everything about your business that's holding you back, that's your fear, let's get it written down on paper. You make a T-chart, and this stuff of what you can't stand goes on the left side of the T-chart. Be as specific as you possibly can. List as many things that you can think of. So if this was your business, okay, and we're doing this list on what you can't stand in your business, maybe the first thing that you say is, I can't stand the fact that I don't have enough clients. It's terrifying me that I don't have the monthly billings that I need to pay back the loans that I have for school, or to make ends meet and be able to pay my bills. Not having clients is going to cause me to go out of business and have to go get a job. Maybe that's the fear. Be specific. Like I said, the more things you can list it's going to help you on the back end, and we're going to get to that in just a second. So for your business, it's, where are my clients? I don't have the confidence maybe to go out and attract clients. I've never been a marketer before. I don't know how to market. I don't know what to do with BNI. I'm terrified of joining BNI. Do you know, I had a client years ago with Universal Accounting. She had me convinced it was against her religion to go to a networking chapter, like a BNI group. And she said it was so much conviction. And was that her paradigm? Yes. Was it really against her religion? No, it was not. And I found out months later, after I finally said, I got to ask you, what religion are you that doesn't let you go to networking meetings? Because she said it with so much conviction every time I asked her. And she laughed and she said, well, I'm Southern Baptist, but they let me go to networking. I said, well, then why have you been telling me for months that it's against your religion with conviction? And she said, because I'm terrified. I don't have confidence. I said, do you want to keep telling that story, or do you want to shift? And she said, I want to shift. I want to learn how to do it. You have to make the decision. This is how we make the decision. At any aspect of your life, whether it's your business or your personal life, your finances and your health, just like I've said, do this. We call it a can't stand, must have. T-chart, left side, can't stand. Once you've listed the things that you don't want in your life, after you've got everything that you can't stand, next to each of those things of what you can't stand, now you're going to list, okay, so if this is what I don't want, this is what I must have. It's really hard for people to say everything that they want. When I usually do a consultation with a client for the first time, or a potential client, and I say, so what do we want to focus on? And they say, I want to focus on my business. And I say, okay, so what do you want to see happen? Usually they can list me 2 or 3 things that they want to see happen in their business, and that's it. But when I say, so tell me what you don't want, bleh, the floodgates open up and they can list all the things that they don't want. That's good. That's good. That's why we say start by listing what you don't want and then flip it and turn it into what you must have. And again, we want to be specific. And in this right column of the T-chart, we want to avoid negative words or negative thoughts. The negativity, we save that for the can't stand section. In the must-have section, we want it to be full of everything positive about this specific topic. So we're going to stick with this theme of marketing and your business being successful. Remember, can't stand, we said originally, I can't stand that I don't know how to market, that I don't have enough clients. So what we want is we want an abundance of clients. See the difference there? I'm not focusing on the fact that I don't have clients. I'm focusing on what I want. I want an abundance of clients. I want more clients than I know how to deal with. Wouldn't that be a great problem for you to have? Now, some of you, I know you're analytical, so you're thinking too far ahead and you're going, well, I don't want to have too many to deal with. Let's just start with having too many clients to deal with. And trust me, we'll get past that hurdle when we have to cross that bridge. But now our focus shifts. Instead of telling the story of not having enough clients, we say, I want to have an abundance of clients. I'm in the process of having an abundance of clients. See what I did there? I threw that little phrase, I'm in the process. That little phrase changes everything because it's a true statement. The fact that you're in this webinar today means that you are in the process of growing and building your business. Give yourself a pat on the back. That is a true statement. And a lot of times with this law of attraction, you can't lie to yourself. You can't say, oh, I've got all the clients that I need. I have an abundance of clients, because that's not true. And you know it. And then that gets in your head and those thoughts start popping up and those paradigms start popping up. And we go, that's not true. I don't have any clients and marketing is difficult for me and I don't have confidence. But if you can say, I'm in the process of having the confidence to go out and market, now that's a true statement. Maybe you hire a coach. Maybe you work with Universal Accounting. Maybe you take their program that teaches you how to be a master marketer. Maybe it gets you the opportunity to work with a certified law of attraction practitioner like myself. And now we're in the process of learning how to market the right way to the right people. The fear of not having enough money. Sorry, this little image of the Universal logo is blocking this guy. Let me back up. That's the guy going, no money. So instead of being worried that you don't have any money, I'm in the process of having clients and having confidence and having the money that I need to grow my own successful practice. Live in the now. Don't be worried about the future. Have that awareness to go, I am in this process and I am using these tools to manifest what I want to see happen. Now, the second step to shifting is keeping track of the abundance when it starts to happen. If you've got marketing down as the paradigm that you need to shift from, then you need to start keeping track of proof that you are shifting, proof of abundance that clients are starting to come in. This is a concept that I picked up from the book, The Law of Attraction. The Science of Attracting More of What You Want and Less of What You Don't. It's by a gentleman named Michael Lozier, brilliant Canadian author. He says, keep a daily log of all the sources from which you're receiving abundance. This will significantly help you in noticing abundance in your life. Keeping a daily log shows you concrete evidence that abundance does exist and is already present in your life. Celebrate it. Keeping track of a daily proof of a shift taking place is going to start to change that story that you're telling yourself. And maybe it's that you were standing in line at the grocery store and you started talking to somebody and they had a shirt that had a business logo and you asked them, is that your business? And they said, yeah, it is. And you say, oh, that's cool. I'm a business owner too. And they go, oh, what do you do? And you go, I'm a profit and growth expert. I do bookkeeping, accounting, and taxes. And I work with small business owners. And they go, do you have a card? I need to call you and talk to you. And you give them your card. That right there is proof that you are not stuck in that paradigm that marketing is difficult. And if you don't know how to do that, then you need to be calling and speaking with Universal Accounting so we can teach you how to do that. Because that is one of the fundamentals to marketing, is just learning to speak to people and then keeping track of it when it happens. And maybe it's somebody that you speak to at church. Maybe it's a family member that you spoke to about your business. Anytime you're doing something to work on your business and to increase your finances and to stop telling that story of struggle, you want to record it. So you can go back and look at it and go, that's not the story anymore. I'm telling a different story. And here's proof. This is proof that this story is different. And this is how the shift starts to happen. Keep track daily. So if it's health, if I woke up feeling great today, I worked out for 30 minutes. I ate a healthy breakfast. I didn't have that $10 burger at Carl's Jr. I had a salad. Whatever it is, you've got to start documenting it. If it's your finances, hey, Andrew bought me lunch today. That's great. Jeff bought me a baby Ruth. That's all money that's being given to you in proof that there is an abundance and enough money out there. I earned a $30 spiff on my commissions. That's great. That's 30% extra that I wasn't expecting. That's abundance. My son, Taylor, his flight to LA was $50 less than budgeted. All of those things and finances are true things that I once documented as proof of abundance. What do you think starts to happen to you as a business owner when you start keeping track of the amazing things that start to happen in your business? And you show gratitude, because that's the next thing. Now, Rhonda Byrne wrote the book The Secret back in 2006. In 2012, she did a follow-up to it called The Magic. The Magic is all about the secret special ingredient, which is gratitude. Gratitude changes everything. Gratitude takes those complaints and replaces those complaints with thankfulness. If you're complaining, what are you attracting more of? More things to complain about. If you're grateful, what are you attracting more things of? More things to be grateful for. If I were you, I mean, this is the first thing that I consult with all of my clients on, is reading this book, The Magic. It's a 28-day practice, so you don't have to read the whole book all at once. You read it one chapter at a time for 28 days, and you focus on gratitude. Now, you're going to get the chance to focus on gratitude in your business. You're going to get the chance to focus on gratitude in your relationships, gratitude with your health, gratitude on money. But what it does is it just shifts that energy. You're no longer complaining. You're focusing daily. It gets you journaling daily. It gets you writing down and recording the amazing things that start to happen. We've already talked about keeping track of proof of abundance happening. This is the next thing, and it's every day writing down multiple things that you're grateful for. And if you've got a low vibration, if you tend to complain more than you show appreciation, and look, it's not a bad thing to admit it. Some of us just were raised that way. Some of us were just raised as victims, and so we acknowledge only the bad things that happen. If you know somebody that complains all the time, go buy him this book and say, hey, read this. This book will change your life. It changed my life so much to the point that I have gratitude tattooed on my wrist as a daily reminder not to complain, to express that gratitude, because the more grateful you are, the more amazing things start to happen in your life. Now, let's wrap it up a little bit, because here we've been talking about shifting and paradigms, and I'm going to give you some proof that this is real and that this does happen. These were my paradigms. These were the beliefs that I had back in 2010, 2011, 2012, when I really started to study this seriously. If you remember, I said I got certified as a law of attraction practitioner in 2013, and it was because in 2012, I decided to take these paradigms that I had, these beliefs that were plaguing my life and making it misery for me, and that story that I told, I wanted to shift it, and I did. Now, I could go through and I could give you examples of every one of these bullet points and how my life has completely changed by doing exactly those three things that we just sat down. I want you to realize this information that I just gave to you, I charge thousands of dollars to teach people on a daily basis. You just got it for free. There's the first thing to write down in your proof of abundance, is that you just learned 3 secrets to shifting, because every one of these bullet points changed for me when I decided to shift it. But I want to focus on just one of them. Which one do you think I'm going to focus on? Of course, Pearl Jam, right? With Pearl Jam, like I said, my belief was that I never got to see Pearl Jam front row. Now, these are actual images that I took at Pearl Jam concerts over the last, this is probably the last 10, 15 years. One of these is a concert I attended at Wrigley Field. I'm all the way, that's the big picture right there. I'm all the way back behind home plate. This one I actually took in 2013. I remember it. Now, it's interesting because 2013 was the year that I decided to stop telling that story about getting to not getting to see Pearl Jam front row. So there I am, all the way in the very back. The one in the top right-hand corner. This is in Wisconsin at a big music festival. Now, my seats aren't bad because I'm in the covered section. If you look at the bottom picture, I'm all the way back. This is zoomed in as close as I can zoom in. I'm all the way back on like a grass field. Okay? This was, when I thought about going to a Pearl Jam concert, this was what I was envisioning, because this was what my reality was. This is what I was dealing with. But I made a vision board in 2013. And on that vision board, I found a picture of a Pearl Jam concert. And I had heard that the lead guitar player, who's all the way in the far left-hand corner here in this picture, his name's Mike McCready. I heard that if you were going to go see a Pearl Jam show, that's where you wanted to be, was in front of Mike McCready, because he was just like electric. I mean, and I remember watching him in Boise, Idaho, from the seats that I had. And it was like watching a tiger in a cage, just roaming around his little area. And just, he was insane to watch. And so I was like, okay, I drew an arrow pointing to the guys in the front row, and I said, that is gonna be me. And I put that on my vision board, and I said, Pearl Jam front row. Well, crazy thing happened in the year 2013. In 2013, take a look at this video. That's my hand right there. That's me and my buddy. This is the lead singer shaking my hand. Now, I show that because my belief was that I never get to see Pearl Jam front row, but a belief is just a thought, and we're in control of our thoughts. So what did I do? I shifted. I said, you know what? I'm going to start seeing Pearl Jam front row. There I am, front row at a Pearl Jam concert, shaking Eddie Vedder's hand. Here I am with my best friend, standing directly in front of the lead guitar player in Charlottesville, Virginia. This is a picture of my best friend and I, front row at a Pearl Jam concert in Charlotte, North Carolina. This was the concert where Eddie Vedder handed his bottle of wine, and I got to take a sip out of that bottle. Now, if you remember back in 2009, when I was at that concert with my wife, pointing down, saying, I'm getting down to the front row. These seats, these tickets that I have, I didn't pay any extra price for them. I paid the same price that anybody else would have paid for just a regular ticket to a Pearl Jam show. And there I am, front row. Here I am in Spokane. This is my son that I've got my arm around, the skinny kid. This was his first Pearl Jam show. We saw them front row, right in front of Mike McCready. Mike McCready actually gave him an autographed set list, his autographed set list, and a guitar pick that night. Now, this is Mexico City. There's 40,000 people in general admission on the floor right there. That means there's no chairs. It's just people standing. And here I am with my best friends at the very front of those 40,000 people on the rail right in front of Mike McCready. Here I am in Denver on the rail right in front of Mike McCready. Here I am in, gosh, where is this? Greenville, South Carolina. Here I am at Wrigley Field just back in 2016. My story has changed so much. I no longer, no, let me rephrase that. I am so upfront most at the shows that I go to. I am so often at the front in front of Mike McCready that Mike McCready, the lead singer, or the lead guitar player for Pearl Jam, points to me and recognizes me in the crowd now and says, oh, hey, and says hi to me because he's seen me so many times. I am no longer telling that story of not going to Pearl Jam front row. And here's the great thing. It works in all aspects of your life. The story you tell is the life you live. So what story do you want to tell yourself? The story of struggle or the story of success? Now, back to this picture. This picture is not the one that I cut out. This picture is a picture from a show that I was at in the bottom left-hand corner, right in front of that microphone stand. On the left-hand side, there's a person sitting right. There's a bald guy. That's me and my best friend at a Pearl Jam show. And that's almost identical to the picture that I cut out and put on my vision board with the arrow pointing to the guys that said you. If this can manifest for me, ladies and gentlemen, you have the ability to control what is happening in your business by shifting. A paradigm is just a belief, and a belief is just a thought that gets too much energy and too much focus. We pick up our paradigms and belief by those that we're influenced by. If you went to school to become an accountant, you probably heard over and over, accountants are extroverts, we're bean counters, we're not people, we sit behind the office, and that's where you started forming that belief. Shift, read, get education. Read the books that talk about shifting. Get clarity. Keep track of proof of abundance and start focusing on gratitude. Now, here's where it gets amazing if you're still with us. This is where things now can become amazing. And if you want to receive abundance, this is what we have to offer for you. This is what Universal Accounting is putting on the table to help you shift to the new 2.0, the new version of you, the new version of your business. What is that going to look like? This is the offer that Universal Accounting would like to give to you. We've got tools and resources and coaches and support and curriculum and programs that can take you and your business to the next level. And like I said, if you've ever been looking at getting enrolled as a student with Universal Accounting or getting some coaching support, then this is you're going to be grateful that you stayed to the end, because here's what we're willing to offer. I coach students with Universal. Rick Howard is one of our marketing coaches who's certified as a law of attraction practitioner. We've got an array of different level of coaching that's available. We would like to offer you 12 structured business coaching sessions. That's 3 months of weekly coaching sessions. Now, 3 sessions a month, usually what we charge for that, is $5,000 to $10,000. We're offering these 3 coaching sessions for $3,000. This is only for the first 30 people who respond to the link at the end of this webinar and click on it and take action today. 4 coaching sessions a month for 3 months for only $3,000. Now, we want to sweeten this deal, and this is where it just blows my mind what Universal Accounting is now about to offer you. The first bonus that we're going to give to anybody who enrolls in those 12 coaching sessions, the 3 months of coaching for $3,000, we're going to give you access to all of Universal Accounting's academic courses and programs. Now, we've got a color accounting program, which for those of you who don't have a detailed background in accounting, this simplifies it and teaches accounting in a way that is just so easy to understand. Those of you that have a background in accounting, maybe you've got a degree or you're a CPA, but you don't have a lot of training with small business bookkeeping, our professional bookkeeper program is the bread and butter for Universal Accounting. It's a 4-module home study online program that we will give you access to, and you can get certified as a professional bookkeeper, having completed a set of books for 12 different small businesses. This is a program that retails for almost $2,500. We're giving you access to this program just for getting involved with the coaching that we offer, the coaching that we were just speaking about. You can get access to our professional tax preparer program, get certified as a professional tax preparer, both in individual returns and the business returns. If you want to get certified as a QuickBooks specialist, we've got a QuickBooks training program that we can give you access to. We have a program called Profit First Professional. I have just started learning about Profit First Professional, and this is taking your accounting to a completely different level, where instead of looking at expenses first, you're looking at profit first. You're looking at what you want to have profitable, and this is something that you can use with your clients as well. The Value Builder system, which I briefly touched on, and the Value Builder lead warming tool we will give you access to, so you can get certified as a Value Builder professional and give your clients a level of accountability that is just unmatched right now in the industry. We will give you access to one of these programs at a time until you've completed those programs. And you can have access to them as long as you are doing the coaching with Universal Accounting. Like I said, it's a 3-month program. The professional bookkeeper program, you can have completed in 2 weeks. The QuickBooks program, you can have completed in 2 weeks. The Profit First Professional and the Color Accounting, those don't take very long. You can go through these entire programs by the time you're finished with the 3 months of coaching, and we will use these as tools to make you the premier bookkeeping, accounting, and tax service in your market, along with the law of attraction coaching that we're going to be working with you on. So that's the first bonus. The second bonus, now this bonus right here, this is almost $11,000 in curriculum that we're giving you access to for free. Having gone out and presented a road seminar in the past and taught people about the bookkeeping course and the tax course and the QuickBooks program, I had people enrolling in these courses paying $7,000. You get this package, this $11,000 value. You get it for the $3,000 that you pay to get the 12 months of coaching. The second bonus is where we step in. Now that you've learned all the skills to run a successful practice, we're going to teach you how to market that practice. We're going to teach you how to go out and get clients with the Universal Practice Builder course. This is another program that's worth $2,500. In this program, we're going to take you through the marketing strategies that we've proven to be effective in today's markets. There's websites, there's seminars, all available to you in the Universal Practice Builder. There are proven marketing strategies. You're going to have that. You're going to have access to all of the academic courses that Universal Accounting offers, the certification programs, along with the 12 months of, or 12 structured business coaching sessions for the 3 months. The third bonus that we're going to give to you is just going to sweeten the deal even more. But I want you to just ask yourself, if all that this did for me was help me become a professional bookkeeper or a professional tax preparer. I mean, if that's something that you've been looking into for a time frame in the past, wanting to get enrolled with Universal but waiting for the right moment, if all it did was got you certified as a QuickBooks specialist or a Profit First professional, or got you Value Builder certified, which then gave you the confidence and the competency to go out, start, and build your own successful business, would it be worth it? If making that investment of $3,000 did one of those things. Remember, the bookkeeping course alone is almost $3,000. Would it be worth it if you got that confidence to do that? If you did these things and it gave you the ability to keep your clients coming back month after month, would it be worth it? If it helped you change your story and your paradigm, would it be worth it? We gave you the ability to work when you want, with whomever you want, as much as you want. That's the true definition of success, by the way. Would it be worth it? The third bonus is where they've just really laid it all out on the table. They're going to give you access to BizBench, which is an $800 value. And what this BizBench software does is it allows you to create a benchmarking report comparing your clients' financial reports, comparing what's going on in their business to what the industry standard is throughout North America. A CPA firm would charge anywhere from $700, $800 up to $1,200, $1,300 for a report like this. This gives you that advantage over your competition, because I know for a fact that most accountants and bookkeepers are not offering an industry benchmarking, an annual report for free as part of the service that they offer to their clients. We're going to give you 12 months of access to this software where you can generate these reports and rise above your competition. This is an excellent tool for marketing. As a coach with Universal Accounting since 2006, I've showed people how to use this to build their business by using these reports the correct way. So you can understand why people are paying Universal Accounting $15,000 and up for these programs that we've just talked about. It would be a great deal at $17,000, and that's why we've never had any problem with it in the past. We're charging $3,000 for the general public for this program right now. but because you have been here today, because you've watched this webinar, we're offering it for $9.99 today. If you're willing to put down $9.99 today, we will get you started with the coaching. We will start giving you access to those programs one at a time that we talked about, the curriculum. We will give you access to the industry benchmarking. All you've got to do is click on this link and register for the $9.99 today. After that, they'll just deduct $1,000 from your card for the next 2 months. But I'm telling you, we will begin coaching with you. We will begin rewriting your story. We will start working on your vision. We will start creating that business that you want to create, along with all of these tools that Universal Accounting is going to give you. I'm telling you, there is not a better offer out there in the industry to make you more qualified and certified and giving you that confidence and direction to make you successful. You find the program that's better, and I will admit that I was wrong. I know there is no better offer out there, and it is only for the first 30 people today that sign up to get it at that $9.99 price. So I'm sure you might have questions. If you have questions, you can contact Universal Accounting. We can answer those questions for you. If I were in your situation, and if you were tired of getting the same results, it's time to start doing something different and start telling a different story. Take advantage of the generosity and the abundance that's just been manifested in front of you with this special offer for $9.99 to get into Universal Accounting, to start working with me as your coach, working with one of the other coaches to get your practice to where you want it to be. It's time for you to shift. It's time for you to do what other people have done that have given them success. And we are so excited to work with you through this process. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate the time today. Like I said, if you have questions, feel free to reach out to Universal Accounting. Feel free to go back. I'm going to leave it just right here and click on the link. I'm going to leave it up here for a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to end the webinar and take it down. If you haven't already clicked on it, click on it now. Get in. Get registered for the $9.99 pricing, and let's get your business to where it needs to be. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm going to leave that screen up for a minute and give those of you the opportunity to click and get registered at that introductory price. Have a great day. I look forward to working with you. Appreciate your time.
Scott, that was amazing. Obviously, one of the things that I want to emphasize is the fact that the coaching that we offer is just superb. And realizing that so many of our coaches, in fact, all of our coaches have their own practices, their own firms. They're dealing with the same thing that each of these individuals are trying to achieve as they're growing their practices. I think that was a wonderful presentation of how we can actually help them be in business for themselves, but not be by themselves. This is just amazing. And I am pleased to be able to make this offer, because I think most importantly, the coaching that we offer and the support that we provide is exactly what these people need. And then to be able to give our coaches the ability to, as the student needs, access to curriculum, access to the training, access to the tools to do their business as they should. This is just the perfect offer, but it is limited, as Scott mentioned. First 30 people, that's what we're doing. We love to do this simply because of the bandwidth that our coaches have. We can only coach so many, and so there's a limited time offer. Take advantage of it now, get started, and then basically what we're going to be doing is working with you over the next 5, 10, 12 months to implement all these things within your organization and help you actually take your business to that next level. So thank you, Scott, for your time. Thank you for your
pleasure.
This was just phenomenal. And I'm, like you said, let's go ahead and leave that slide up there for a moment here. Let everyone go to that link and take advantage of enrolling today.
You got it. Thanks, Roger.